Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's regular meeting of the Sumner County School Board for July 22nd. Before we begin, I'm going to stand for a moment of silence, followed by a pledge to the flag. Feel free to join me if you'd like. Thank you. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I call to order the July 22nd, 2025 regular scheduled meeting of the Sumner County School Board. First item on the agenda is roll call. Mr. Johnson. All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is adoption of the regular agenda. Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, any comments?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to add something tonight. I was told by some folks that reached out to me with some concerns, and I was told by some bookkeepers in the county that they received a memo in their meeting about relatives in the workplace, and they informed me that there's a former bookkeeper whose husband was made principal. She's been moved to an office manager's position, and they work in the same building within a direct line of supervision, which is not only a violation of our policy, but also state law. And an exception was made, and I think the board needs to take a look at that and discuss it and determine if that is in line with board policy. And per the policy, as I read it, that's not permitted. So this puts us in a liable situation, and at the very least, I think it needs to be discussed. So my motion is to add to the agenda a discussion of board policy 1.108, nepotism and fraternization.
So what action, I'm trying to figure out from an agenda standpoint, discussion or action regarding, what action are you asking the board to take?
Oh, I'm sorry. So for discussion. So it'd be a motion for discussion, not necessarily action, but discussion of board policy 1.108.
Well, I think on a voting session like that's typically reserved for a study session.
Okay.
Discussion, in a voting session, in order to be on the agenda, there's got to be some action we need to take. So I need to add some type of motion for consideration, a motion to do X, Y, or Z.
So, okay, well, motion for discussion and or action regarding board policy 1.08, nepotism and fraternization.
What action would you like the board to consider?
Well, if we discuss it and there's some kind of insubordination, then we need to take some kind of reprimand action.
So you're asking that we discuss the possibility of insubordination of an employee?
Well, of the director of schools, and possibly a solution to this situation. If it is in violation of board policy, then we need to come up with a solution to correct it.
So can you please restate what motion you would like us to consider adding to the agenda?
Okay.
So that Mr. Johnson can share with the board.
So,
and then we'll vote on whether to add that to the agenda or not.
Sure. So my motion is to add a discussion and or action of board policy 1.108, nepotism and fraternization, to seek a solution to the perceived violation of this policy.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? All right, I don't see a second, so we will move on, voting on the main motion, adoption of the consent agenda. Motion to approve?
We didn't have a vote on the main agenda.
All wrong,
You didn't have a second?
I know, but we're back to the main motion.
Yes, which is adoption of the consent agenda.
regular.
Approval.
Oh, I'm sorry,
regular
approval, I'm sorry,
agenda.
approval of the regular agenda, my fault. I got a little far down on, you're correct, sir. Motion, adoption of the regular agenda. We got a motion to approve, we have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that carries. Next item on, my apologies, I got a little ahead of myself. Next item on the agenda is adoption of the consent agenda. Motion to approve? All right, I've got a motion by Ms. Hayes, a second by Mr. Lacey. Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is consideration of minutes, June 17, 2025, regularly scheduled meeting. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Ms. Hayes, do you have a second? Ms. Stewart, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is recognition and hearing of delegations. I don't see anybody on the agenda this evening. All right, moving on. Next item on the agenda is matters involving council. I don't believe we have anything discussed tonight. So next item on the agenda is reports from the director, July director's report.
Mr. Lancaster emailed me today and requested a long presentation, so
How many slides?
I'm being facetious. He did not. So it's, hang on, it's 6 actual slides. So I emailed y'all.
That'll still take an hour.
I can get this upstairs with my cabinet, Mr. Lancaster. I routinely do. I emailed y'all. The an update on the athletic facilities, and let me clarify, because a lot of times y'all reach out to me later and say, "Can you share that on social media?" Absolutely, it's exciting. If you look at, we need 9 rain days for Station Camp. We have had over the last, I think, 9 or 10 days, it's rained every 12 hours. So to put sod down and do some of the stuff we need to do for Station Camp's field, we need some dry weather. It's been monsoon season for the last few months, but everything is going great. Portland is pretty much done. Really excited about that. I was at Beach today with Channel 2. I was reminded, being on that field at 12:30, why I am glad that I don't coach football anymore, because it was hot, insanely hot. But Beach's stadium looks fantastic. Hendersonville is coming up fast. You know, it's amazing. Once they start putting that steel down, it rolls, and it's gonna be good. You know, Gallatin, we are still very much in that. When you're taking out an old track, there's no way to do it except journey through the ugly time where you got to tear all that stuff up and put it down. We've met with, I know y'all had a number of emails from concerned soccer parents. We have, I think, alleviated most of those concerns. A lot of that work we'll be on a different place by the first week of August when they start playing games. But we've already taken some steps between maintenance and Biskin to make the field accessible and things like that. Trying to think about the others. The lights and fencing are going in Westmoreland and Gallatin. If you drive past Gallatin, so they're taking the exterior fencing down, it's going up, the lights are in. So I can't wait to see the kids with those lights because it color washes the stands. It's cool for the kids. It also, over time, saves us an astronomical amount of money. It gives coaches control over the lights from an app on their phone or an iPad. All really exciting for our schools. North Sumner safety is going well. It's just always, you know, it's going to go up to the 11th hour. If you haven't had a chance to meet Mr. Freeman yet, the new principal, he said it was loud and kind of a hassle, and I was like, that's any construction project forever. It's always a hassle, but it looks so much better. I can't wait for y'all to be able to see that. It looks good. Work we've done in the library there too. It's going to be really exciting for North Sumner. Just a couple of others on the projects. Just really exciting to see everything go in. If you get a chance when you leave, drive back by the old E.B. Wilson building. Our new playground for the Gallatin Early Learning Center is there. If you get a chance, go check out the surface. This is the one that we're going to try for future, more accessible playgrounds. It feels good. I want to see some kids in wheelchairs use it to see with limited mobility to see how it goes. But it looks really good. It's a very nice playground. And we're excited to kick off our Gallatin Early Learning Center. It's crazy. The next board study session in August, school will be in session. Christy, have a clicker. We will be in session and school will be rolling. It's really already started. Lisa Hemsarian had over 60 nurses in today to talk about, go through all their protocol and any changes. When I was in there, they were talking about CPR and AEDs and everything else. You know, I was talking to a group a few weeks ago, and you know, you don't comprehend that by, let's say, by 8:30, 9 o'clock, when all of our schools are in session, our buses have already driven the equivalent of 4.5 round trips to Disney World. Over the course of that day, we'll feed somewhere around 22,000 meals. That's even before We're talking about kids sitting in a classroom with the very best teachers and principals and support staff. Really exciting, and I can't wait to get that rolling in a few weeks. I made the announcement at church. I was doing the announcements, and I told them I had an announcement from their friendly neighborhood superintendent. There were only 15 days until school started. We have a lot of teachers and students in our church, and it was not well received, but it'll be here before we know it, and I'm always excited for the start of school. I would encourage y'all, if you have any questions about where to go, what you'd like to do, just let me know. We try to get out. It's odd for us because we want to be out and be seen, but not be a nuisance to the school because they got a lot going on that first day, a lot of moving parts. But we want to be out in case anybody needs us. It's fun to see all the first day of school pictures. We've got an overwhelming Live Laugh Love gave 1,500 backpacks full of school supplies. So, and we still have the United Way stuff, the bus. We're going to be in great shape. We're going to be in great shape for students and school supplies. I've talked to a number of other principals where they've just flooded the school with school supplies. My favorite is Miss Manning, the new principal at Bethpage Elementary, got to go to the Masonic Lodge and speak and receive a bunch of school supplies. I just love what I love about Sumner County. Everybody chips in and helps and supports. And so, yeah, the best part was, she found out you always speak when you go. Yeah. So, anyway, really excited about what's coming. We've had bus drivers in this week doing CPR and training. They'll have some meetings next week. We've had a whole bunch of people here. If you're here, we're kind of stacked up like cordwood right now as we go through some transition. But we've also got lots of people here doing trainings, and that will pick up, the intensity of that will pick up. Got a big one I want to share a little bit later, but I'm going to let Amanda and Frankie kind of share about that. One thing on the agenda tonight, I'll just run through it real quickly so if you have any questions, is Apple Lease. When we went through COVID and we had the federal money, we rapidly transitioned from a school district that was largely wired in. We had mostly desktop computers and computer labs. If you walk in our schools now, you don't see that anymore. You see lots and lots of mobility. When we did that, we knew that it would change the way that we did purchasing for technology, because the way that we had done it, say from about 2015-16, is we did a district device fund, and that went to the schools, and the schools purchased their technology. The problem that was going to start happening is we shifted to so much technology, it was not going to be, schools were not going to be able to cover what their teachers needed just out of the district device fund. It also makes it way easier, for Chris and his team to manage it. So what we're proposing to do with this lease is, we have about 6,000 employees, about 2,600 teacher certified employees. So starting to get ahead of the curve with MacBook Airs. If we have teachers that need a PC for engineering, accounting, different subjects that really need a PC, that absolutely need a PC, we'll get those classes or those teachers a PC. But for the vast majority of our our teachers, a MacBook works well. They're durable. They last forever. We get a really good buyback at the end of it, and it connects. Most of our schools are now transitioning to panels with Apple TVs because an LED panel like that lasts forever. You don't have to replace bulbs, and if you're connecting to it through an Apple TV, you can use your iPad anywhere in the classroom. You can use your laptop anywhere in the classroom. You're not bound by a hardwired computer. We've really tried to move away from that. So this accomplishes that. It takes that burden off schools. What we didn't want to see is all of a sudden schools having to go out and fundraise to buy teacher devices. We would prefer the district device money that goes to schools and fundraising to go towards things that directly impact the classroom and kids. We love what we're seeing with like outdoor classrooms and STEM activities and things like that, as opposed to having to spend that money to replace teacher devices. And it's centralized, it makes a lot of sense, it's more efficient, it's way easier for Chris and his team. If you saw the Channel 2 story last night, they came out to see our new teacher thing. Technology stole the show. Sean Lance is now the poster boy for the IT department. He got a lot of B-roll film yesterday in our new teacher rollout. Got a little bit more celebration about that that'll come in just a minute. The other thing that we did is our administrators, we did this during COVID, we bought them iPads in addition to whatever other device they have. And I would say it's one of the things that our administrators love the most because it lets them, if they're in a classroom and something happens, they can hop on and look at the cameras. They can pretty much run just about everything from that iPad. If they're at a ball game, I don't know if you ever been around a high school. High school campuses never stop. And what's the one thing you know could happen if you have a bunch of teenagers on the campus? Mischief. And they're able to very quickly jump on the iPad and see. A lot of times, actually, it's not mischief. Kids are really good. I think they're way better than previous generations of teenagers, but it lets you see exactly what's going on. Or if there's an emergency or anything else you can see quickly. You can also do the majority of their work there when they're at a ball game, when they're in a meeting, when they're wherever they might be during the day. They've got that there with them. So replacing those. And then also during COVID, we have really, Ms. Skinner and her team have tried to move away from excessive technology in K2 classrooms, but we need some technology in K2 classrooms. So we don't want kids sitting in front of a device all day, but we think 5 per classroom is a good number. We do have some schools that are 1-to-1, but they have to really explain the purpose and what they're doing so that we don't have kids on devices for significant parts of the day. So this would replace, that's 5 iPads per classroom. In terms of shifting to the lease, most businesses and industries are doing this now. Historically, we've paid cash up front for everything that we bought, but we're, now with curriculum, we've had to start cash flowing it because the whole curriculum world was set up initially where you paid for 6 years up front. So you had to front load the cost of the curriculum for 6 years. It was very expensive. They allow us, some have deals if you pay 6 years up front, so we do still do some of that 6 years, but a lot more what we're doing is paying year at a time and kind of cash flowing. And we want to put technology on a similar type pattern because it just lets us maximize our money and it gets us out of having a year where it's like, we got to come up with $6 or $7 million. It smooths that out so it's consistent each year. It's a little bit easier for Ms. Brown to project and to plan for in the next budget. Do you have any questions about the Apple lease?
So are we not going to buy them? Are we still buying and leasing?
So it's a weird thing. The state considers this a lease. At the end of the lease, we own the device and we can sell it back. It's called like a dollar lease. Apple does 0% interest, but the state of Tennessee considers it a lease because we're paying for it over several years instead of upfront. So we own the device at the end. We just spread the payments out over 4 years, and then we can sell it back at the end. So it's technically ours. It's just kind of spreading the cost out over several years. It lets us manage our money a little bit more effectively instead of paying the total all up front.
And this is the first time we're doing this?
It's the first time
Yeah.
It's the first time we've done lease. So just so you know, all leases in Tennessee have to be approved by the school board first and then the county commission. That's whether it's a copier or whether it's like this. And that's just that's a financial law in the state of Tennessee. But yes, this is the first time we've leased devices like
So
this.
the plan would be to do the other half next year, or in a couple of years to try to keep it on like a
Yeah,
some
just
type
to
of
spread
cycle.
it out. Yeah, so that we're not catching, what a lot of districts are facing is they bought like, say,
All of them at once.
6,000 devices in 2020 or 2021 with ESSER money. And you're trying to get out of having to say like in 2024 and 2028 and 2032, we're going to have to come up with this massive amount of money.
Mr. Lancaster?
Yeah, so when we do this, my real life job, do we get all the, in other words, this includes like the support and the replacement or
Apple Care,
yeah,
all that.
all that good stuff. That alone is worth a good bit. Just so if something happens and you own it and you buy it up front
Yeah.
from somebody, then you're on the hook to fix it or replace
Yeah.
it. And when you got it through this way, you call up whatever company and they provide you a new one pretty much whenever. So yeah, I'm trying to remember the last time we actually purchased technology. It's been
We're,
probably 10 years
Mhm.
since.
It's pretty archaic the way that we've had to do it for a long time. We just before, I won't go too accounting-y, and Ms. Morgan's going to laugh at me as I try to explain this. For a long time, it was really hard in our world to lease, and so they've made some things more restrictive, like getting county commission approval. But then some things have become easier for us because we don't have to assess the value and different things like that. So we're able to do it a little bit more like in the private sector, like y'all probably do.
Well, do y'all, or will Apple, who would be responsible for like pushing like any like updates and making sure all the,
So we use a system called Mosel. Now Chris is going to really laugh at me as I try to explain this. Mosel allows us, one of the problems that we had early, like with iPads and things like that, is there was not a good centralized way to push out stuff. Mosel allows us to push out things to Macs. And so that's like what we do with all the student iPads, and they're able to do that same thing with these iPads. So, Apple would push out the updates, like the software updates, or the system updates, the OS operating system updates. But then, like if we're pushing out apps or things like that, they can do that based on the different user categories, whether it's a student or a teacher, an administrator. And shockingly, I got to say, Apple's been pretty pleased that with our student iPads, we have not lost anywhere near the number that I anticipated. If you go to any school, it just proves the value of technology to kids. If you go to any school, you could probably find $15,000 worth of coats and jackets and hats and everything, shoes. You never find technology. But shockingly, they can keep up with all that. All right. I wanted to go. I know you had some emails about federal funding, and I wanted to run through some just so we're all on the same page. Let me say this at the start. Anytime you have an administration change, right? Like there is a time period where when the administrations change, there's a reworking of the way that they look at things like grants and federal money. I'm sure it's happened time immemorial. I can only comment on two since I've been here, 2 federal and then the state. There were slowdowns when we went from Governor Haslam to Governor Lee, who were in the same party, right? Because Governor Lee had different priorities than Governor Haslam. But obviously when President Biden took over in 2021, when President Trump took over in 2017, when President Biden took over in 2021, and when President Trump took over in 2025, they had radically different views on how you used federal money. And that required an extensive look at the U.S. Department of Education, OMB, other places about the way those funds were allocated. We didn't hit it with the Biden administration. We didn't hit it on title programs. We did hit it at that point during COVID. We had all the ESSER money, and there was about a 3 or 4 month delay while we transitioned from the Trump administration to the Biden administration, and there was an extensive amount of time as they wrote out what the rules and regulations were going to be for the way that federal money was spent. I call this democracy. It's the reality of the system that we're in, that who wins gets to change the rules about the way that we spend money. So I am hopeful that where we are is we're in the time, like what I have read that's authoritative is that these programs are being reviewed to ensure that the grant applications and everything like that align with the initiatives of the Trump administration. All right, and so that's what's been said. But these are the funds. So just real quickly, Title I has been unaffected by the freeze. We had a brief lockdown on E-Plan, which is what we do our funding part with the state, because they had to figure out how to separate out Titles 1, 2, 3, 4. So it took them about 2 weeks to figure that out. Some districts began to shift Title 2, 3, and 4 expenses out of that into Title I, and you can't do that. So they had to shut it down and come up with systems to figure out how to manage that. But Title I is up and operational. All right, Title II is primarily teacher professional development. So when you see big trainings, big initiatives where we're training all of our teachers, that's typically funded out of Title II. Title III is English learners and immigrant students. Right? Title IVA is academic enrichment, student support, mental health, STARS, counselors, classroom management support, AP test reimbursement for economically disadvantaged students. And currently we pay for all students that are taking 3rd and 4th or 5th, however many additional AP tests. Like if you're economically disadvantaged, we pay for all of your AP exams. If you are not economically disadvantaged, if you've got a high school student that takes 3 or 4 AP tests, it hits you right at the end of the year. So we try to encourage more participation in AP. We pay for test 3, 4, 5, whatever, based on for all students. So all of that comes out of Title 4A. And then Title 4B is 21st Century Learning Centers. It was unfrozen on Friday. So this is where, I know some other school districts have put out information. If you go through and read those articles, a lot of times most of them are still kind of in the same boat we are, where they're trying to figure out exactly what these freezes mean. Are they permanent? It is a possibility that, Congress appropriates money, the executive branch disperses that money. It is possible that this money is held onto and we don't receive it. It's also possible, like Friday, Miss Katie Brown and Miss Amanda Brown, Miss Skinner and I met for about 3 hours last week to work through in Title 4B how we were going to manage and support and try to make sure we took care of kids in after school and tutoring. And we put together a plan of what we thought we would have to do if the money was unfrozen, right? Because you don't want to go to the start of school and tell people they're going to have child care support and then that not happen. You want to communicate that as early as possible. But then on Friday, after we'd made the plan, the money got unfrozen. So we're in this kind of dance where we're trying to figure out when or if it's going to be unfrozen. I personally feel like it's going to, for the most part, it's going to get unfrozen, but it's not going to be quick. It may be September, it may be October, but we'll continue to update you and share. I wanted to give you an idea about what this means for us in the immediacy. So Title II, we get 818. We're slated to get 818,000 this year. Title III, 178,909. Title 4A, 361,402, and Title 4B, 220,000. Okay. So we also have, because rarely do we spend all this money in a year, we're allowed to carry over a percentage to the next year. Just to make this even more fun for your budgeting hat, federal budgets run October 1 through September 30th, so not on the same funding calendar. So some of that carryover allows us, we're on July 1 to June 30th. So some of that carryover carries us, because we're trying to spread out and even up 2 different funding calendars for the year. So that carryover money typically carries the first couple months until we move into the new budget year with the new allocations. So we will be able to spend the carryover money once it becomes available. Miss Amanda Brown and her team are now going through closing out all the books for 2025. As soon as those books are closed out and the state approves it, they will cut us loose to budget and spend that carryover money. So that's how we will carry a lot of the programs while these funds are frozen. If you see some things, Knox County let go 27, they removed 27.5 positions last week. Some districts put a significant amount of staffing in different federal programs. And, Shelby County is really wrestling with this right now. I know another large district where they put almost their entire instruction department in Title II. You're not allowed to run a negative deficit or a deficit in federal funds. So that's why, if you remember, we historically had $500,000 in kind of account, because the way federal money works is we expend the money and then we submit a reimbursement and they reimburse us. So you can't run negative, so you have to have some money to stay liquid in federal accounts. We increased that during COVID just because of the size to $1 million. So we're good, we're liquid for July and August. Worst case scenario, if things stay frozen longer, we might have to move some more money into that, not to expend it outside of our budget routinely, but to just stay liquid while we're waiting on those reimbursements to come. But that's right now we look really good. So that would be, that'll be an update in August about where we are in our liquidity and federal funding. Ms. Brent, did I miss anything? Okay. Do you have any questions about that?
Mr. Lancaster?
So you said EL, we have $178,000 for the year. This is what we get from the federal government.
Yes.
All right. So do we have? Obviously that's, I think, the one that a lot of people think. We're getting all this federal money to cover our EL teachers.
Right.
How many? Do we have any positions specifically tied to that, or?
Yeah.
Obviously we have more EL teachers than $178,000 worth.
Right. No, because we had in 2018, we had 21 EL teachers. We had about 660 EL students. 2025, we have 58 EL students, or excuse me, EL teachers, and about 1,900 students. So we've gone from 660 to 1,900 in terms of our students, and we've gone from 21 to 58 teachers. I will say I am proud of us. I'm proud of the budget that you approved. A lot of districts have decreased the number of EL teachers, anticipating a decline in the number of EL students. We actually did not do that. We looked at the number of students and our growth rate and tried to project to make sure that we're hitting the ratio. Position that funding that came out, the position that's in there's several, we try not to put full positions, but parts positions. We did have an instructional coach for Title III that was there. And I'll go ahead and I'll clarify, because there's been some information put out that we cut that position. All right, so we did not cut that position. We, and I want to be careful here, because anything that we're doing is recorded. I hate to talk about an individual employee, because if you know the employee that we're talking about, she's an absolute rock star. I can't say enough good things about her. But she is also a person that does not like to be on this camera, or any camera for that matter. She wants to go to work. She wants to love her teachers that she supports, and she wants to do good work every day. And she does not want to be on Facebook. She does not want to be on the news. She wants to take care of her family, live in her community, and do great work. So I would encourage everybody, as we have these discussions and debates, that we think about the human side of this. That these are people that have families and kids and don't always want, that's why I would prefer, it bothers me, the thing that bothers me the most about this job is not when people attack me, but when people attack teachers and, staff people and things like that. So, I'd encourage everybody to think about that. But let me explain that in our work, we've tried, and we did a tremendous job this year. We tried to do our leadership hiring earlier than we've ever done it, right? Because what used to happen when you hire an instructional coach, it is usually someone's best teacher. And then that principal has to try to backfill and find a teacher to take that teacher's place, all right? By doing that earlier, we had hoped to get ahead of that so principals aren't in June and July hunting, trying to find teachers. We also try to not let teachers move from one Sumner County school to another Sumner County school after June 1st. We've done it as late as June 15th. June 1st seems fair because it takes a huge burden off principals. It doesn't mean we're 100% there. It just means that I have to approve it. Usually what happens, because with the transfer deadline, you don't want to have it so rigid that someone has waited their whole career. They teach at White House High School, but they live a block from Hendersonville High School, and they've waited for a decade for a job to open up at Hendersonville. And that job opens up on June 11th, and we tell them they can't go. Usually what happens there is the two principals talk and they work something out. We're all on the same page, and then we make that, we bless that move. But we don't want fruit basket turnover continuously. So obviously, we also try to do principal and APs. We have added some positions and filled those. So we had a late assistant principal hire at Hendersonville High School in July. All right, so if you're looking at the way our staffing works, right, when you hire an assistant principal, Hendersonville hired their instructional coach to move into the AP position. That's pretty common, leaving them in an instructional coach position. Our instructional coaches do a tremendous job of working with teachers to support students, right? And our mindset, Mr. Johnson said this yesterday, I think it captures it well. The number one priority for us are students. Students learning every day is the most important thing we do. It's where we hang our hat, it's what we focus on. The next step is teachers there to take care of, love, and support those kids. A principal to support teachers, and all the rest of the support staff to support those 3 points. That's the work that we do, and that's what's most important. We do a lot of great work across the board, but it all goes to support those students. So when you have an instructional coach, especially in a high school, where you're talking about a large faculty, right? Hendersonville High School is over 1,600 students. You have to think about how do we minimize the impact on the district. And so the decision that we made was to move the EL instructional coach, right? Because the instructional coach assigned to EL, to move that person into the high school instructional coach position at Hendersonville, for this year, right? Because if we start that carousel of hiring, then we're at the start of school and we're pulling a teacher out and having to replace it. And then we pull another teacher and do that, and it starts this carousel that's not good for schools. Every district typically hits a part where they try not to hire internally. So we had the opportunity to maximize the talent that we have to do the best for the kids of Sumner County. Because if you know the instructional coach that we're talking about, I mean, she was the instructional coach of the year a couple years ago. She's phenomenal, right? And so if you're looking at it for 1 year, not long term, I want to be really clear, we are not talking about cutting the EL instructional coach. We're talking about a scenario where due to late hires, we needed to move to provide the most support for our schools. 1 year, at the end of this year, our instructional coach at Hendersonville High School will have the option to decide whether she would like to go back to be the EL instructional coach, or if she loves being at Hendersonville High School, staying there. But that's a conversation for her to have after a school year where she supported the teachers and students at Hendersonville High School. I think it's a great opportunity. I think it'll be exciting, and I know that she will be phenomenal for Hendersonville High School. We're able to do that because, you know, when we had, in 2018, you think when we had 21 EL teachers, we had EL teachers that were covering 3-4 schools, okay? It was, everything pretty much had to be run from here because we didn't have, you know, for instance, you might have at North Sumner, you might have one student that was an English language learner. You might have 30 at Rucker or 12 at Millersville. Now we have a subgroup of EL students at every school in the county. So when you see that number of 58 EL teachers, it means that we pretty much have an EL teacher or more than one at every school in Sumner County. It's not one-to-one. You know, obviously some schools like Oakmont, I'm not going to have a full-time EL teacher. There are EL teachers that split and divide, and that kind of changes. Just like when you see special ed positions change based on where the kids are and the numbers. And EL, like, you know, Rucker, Stewart, other schools that have a significant EL population will have, you know, 2, sometimes 3 EL teachers, and other schools with fewer may have a part-time position. But what we do have now is a system when Ms. Skinner took over, we changed the way that we did EL, and our EL teachers' goal was, it's still a work in progress, was for the EL teachers to be much more part of the school where they served, right? Because instruction is best when it's done tier 1, when the teacher is a part of the school. And it's better for our EL teachers to feel that they are a part of Beach Elementary or, you know, Portland High School or Station Camp Middle School than it is to say I'm a floater between a couple schools. I would love for every school long term to have at least one EL teacher. It's a great thing for us to pursue. And we're not too far off. But anyway, in those times when you hit mid-July, what you're trying to do is reach common sense solutions that maximize the support for the most number of students. So moving our EL instructional coach to Hendersonville High School allows us to provide support for a huge faculty and 1,600 students, while also being able to lean on Marie Taylor, our EL coordinator, Dr. Bowman, our federal program supervisor, and the instructional coaches that we have in each building. We have great instructional coaches in the building, and they're going to be able to provide support for our EL teachers while we weather a year where we're trying to, you know, support everybody, but also not create fruit basket turnover in July.
Mr. Lancaster?
So I guess at the end of the day, it sounds like the scenario that you're describing had nothing really to do with this unfrozen money. And next year we'll have we're not looking, my main thing is we're not looking like we're gonna have to cut any positions related to this.
No, we've got, I mean, I would answer that twofold. We've got a few part-time positions that we're going to have to, you know, they're like 5-hour, 6-hour positions, nothing full-time. Now, if these cuts, like if Title II, III, and IV go away completely and we don't get that back, next year we'll have to figure out some stuff, right? Like we'll have to think about the way that we deliver services. We'll have to think about the way that we do things. Like I would say primarily the number one area where that would hit would not be in Title III with EL, because I mean realistically, I think that that position is valuable enough, and I think the person is so talented, we would just catch that instructional coach in EL. We would just move that over to our GP budget, because we've done that from time immemorial. Like we did that with ESSER, as we paid for positions out of ESSER for a couple years while we could, and then we gradually moved them over to our GP budget. I think where longer term the effects, if these funding cuts remain, where it would affect us the most would be in Title 4A. Title 4B is unfrozen, but if that was frozen again, because that's after school care, Title 4A again is, is the classroom management, STARS counselors. There are things that if that money isn't unfrozen long term, we would have to cut those services or try to find an alternative funding source.
Mr. Evans?
A couple things. I think one, continue to keep us included on updates on this. So, especially even here in these meetings, because again, people who do watch it, goes back. It's similar to like the playgrounds, like as you get updates and as we get progress. I think that's good just for us to be able to reference, but also for, I know like newer families are getting ready, or they're entering into the schools, they're gonna have questions about this because it's on the news, and obviously it's a hot topic. So, any information you continue to provide to us so that we know how to, tell that information would be great. Currently, so I know we've talked about this before with positions. If it's deemed necessary, we have the ability to fill that if it's deemed necessary once school starts, correct?
Right.
Because we're not moving anybody into it. We could hire from outside if we had to.
You could. I'm
not saying to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not asking the board
You could.
but we have the ability to do that.
Yes.
Okay,
We're not cutting the position.
correct.
We're maximizing our resources, knowing that
But the money is there in case we had to.
we could hire the position if we wanted to. Yes.
That's all I'm saying. Cool, thanks.
Any other questions?
Okay. And I'm sorry I didn't flip slides. I flipped the slides on mine, but not on yours. This is the actual dollar amounts for the different title monies. Okay. All right, jumping into something to celebrate. New teacher launch. I got the opportunity to pop over yesterday. Ms. Brown went back today because we had a state delegation come out to view what we're doing to support new teachers. We've talked a lot about this over the last few months. We built Teach Sumner in response to try to find the best people to teach our kids. And we found out one of our new elementary teachers that's in our program played the violin for Gary Allen for 20 years. He's going to be an elementary teacher in Sumner County. We have some amazing talent that comes in to teach in first and second careers. But we wanted to end those conversations about what we were doing to recruit teachers and put them in our Teach Sumner job embedded programs. Ms. Skinner, Ms. Brown, a number of others began to have conversations about, what does it look like not to just recruit teachers and get them in the classroom to start, but what does it mean to prepare them and support them throughout the year, right? Because if you talk to old teachers, like me, teacher support was, here's your classroom. Maybe if you're lucky, they showed you where the copy machine was and the bathroom, and they gave you a key, and they said, don't mess up. And that was pretty much your support, and it was sink or swim. That's not an effective way to retain teachers or people. And so I'm really excited to talk about what we've seen the last, we're in day 2, tomorrow's day 3. So if you're a new teacher to Sumner County, but you have experience, you're just new to the district, we're going ahead and giving you 3 days of TCIS. TCIS is a training that we did with all of our teachers and staff last year, where it teaches things like de-escalation. It teaches you strategies for how to manage your classroom. I can think of one kid in particular that I had that experienced such an astronomical level of trauma as a child, but then as he became a teenager, he continued to experience that trauma. I could tell what kind of day he was going to have by looking at his face when he got off the bus. If he went into a classroom, anybody remember the teacher that you had that if you climbed the ladder of being louder, they would get louder? Let me tell you, with kids that have been through a lot of significant trauma, they'll go as high on that ladder as you want. And it doesn't end in a good place. So we wanted to train teachers so that they were able to address those situations, but to also give us a common language across the district so that if we're talking about what we're doing, it's consistent across the district. I think it's really one of the best things that we've done. Ms. Katie Brown, let me specify which Brown, Ms. Katie Brown led that initiative for us, and it's been really powerful for our district. So if you're a new teacher to the district but you have experience, we went ahead and gave you your TCIS training. If you're just a brand new teacher, the one thing you don't want to do is totally overwhelm them by training them on everything initially. So we want to give them some classroom management support, but not a full 3-day intensive TCIS training. They'll do that next year, because we want to make a 2 or 3 year commitment to new teacher training and support. So all of our brand new teachers are in day 2. They just completed day 2. They got their technology, they got their curriculum. They've been doing classes with our people and our best teachers, our best APs, our best instructional coordinators and coaches, and then initial new teacher support. And what I love is it's not just the initial new teacher support for the 3 days, it's an ongoing support structure over the course of the year from the district and the school. And that's really exciting. I'm going to flip to some pictures so you can see some of it. And then I'm going to ask Ms. Brown and Ms. Skinner if they'd like to jump in and share anything.
Just fun to see 286 teachers that are new to our district so excited and happy to be somewhere in the summer for 3 days. So I think that was really cool. The Oprah technology giveaway was really fun. But what I'm most excited about are these teachers are going to walk into next week with a full week of lesson plans, a full plan of classroom management, and then there's going to be someone that has touch points with them all during the week. So it's pretty amazing. It's pretty innovative. I don't know that there's another new teacher program around like that. So excited.
Yeah, so I'll just add, this kind of started last fall when we were just talking about different, because I have a team that supports new teachers, and obviously Frankie has a team that supports new teachers, and trying to discuss what that looks like and kind of align. And so we created this huge committee, and with every department in the world in it, and we added some departments as it grew. And through that committee process, we call it a tactical meeting, the new teacher support was born. And so it's super exciting that all of those voices came together and were so dedicated to that process. And so we're very excited. And to be kind of specific, we initially took that 5-day intensive that our Teach Sumner class does, because we already have a very specific 5-day. And with instruction, they worked to reduce that to that 3 days, and then really make it summer specific and grade level specific. And so there was a cross-departmental right now. There's Teach Sumner teaching. There's an AP teaching. I saw supervisors. I saw coordinators. I mean, it is amazing. And I walked in those classrooms today, and every single person in those classrooms were engaged and enjoying it, and it's really exciting to see that come to fruition. And we worked with Chris's team moved mountains to try to get those instructional or technology pieces in their hand, and then we worked with Cheryl Collins' group to try to get them actually access to their curriculum. So they're in their build, like in those classes. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's really hard. So
Yes, usually they don't get their technology. When would you say a new teacher would get their technology?
They normally wouldn't get it until they're in their classroom for their first time. And a lot of times, even if they had it, they wouldn't necessarily know what to do with it until they had some help from us or from their head tech at their school.
That's right. Yeah, good work.
yeah, so it's been a really cool process. I don't know, did you mention the news came out and did a big segment on it, and that was pretty cool. And I think we're doing some really, we're really trying to reach out and support those teachers. And so what we found is if we can support them better, then our turnover is going to be less. They're more effective in the classroom. I mean, it just never ends, the benefits to our school and our students. So it's exciting.
And the 3 days are part of their professional learning that they already have to do. So they are not giving us more of their time. We built it into the 6 days, so it's half of their professional learning days that they're spending with us.
Yeah, and I think, just seeing everybody work together has been really powerful. IT, I didn't mention Chris earlier, IT has done an amazing job. You know, there were a lot of processes because, you know, we have to make sure we're all speaking to the new teachers tomorrow, and it's a mix of welcome to Sumner County, we love you, we want you to stay, but we do have to have some serious talks about what we do and don't do. And Chris's talk always involves like, don't click on things that you don't know the origin of, because there's lots of phishing schemes out there. And, you know, so a lot of times technology finds themselves in that bracket of having to, you know, protect the network and protect the safety of our kids and staff. But it was really cool. I've been having fun because Chris's team's been passing out iPads and MacBooks, and they look like Oprah. It's like, you get an iPad, and you get an iPad, and you get an iPad. And it's cool to see them because they've worked really hard over the last couple of years. When I tell you that about 2016, we had one of the most archaic tech infrastructures and ability to support devices because we didn't invest in it. We had great people. They just didn't have the resources and materials to do it. And now they're finding like really cool, creative ways to help support our kids in the classroom. And so I'm excited for that. I'm also excited the way to see everybody's come together to launch our new teachers. And you know, tomorrow there's a lunch. They'll be with their principals, and it's going to really be a welcoming environment for new. And I got the opportunity to walk around and talk to a significant number of the new teachers. I know Ms. Brown did that today, and we'll all be out there tomorrow. But just hearing where they're from. You know, I talked to 2 from California. I talked to several from, you know, other states, countries, and just seeing them come into Sumner County Schools and to be excited to be here is really neat.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the education part of this, like from a social media perspective, I've had conversations with 2 friends in the last week who are just in a weird part with their like professional development career, mostly like coaching in that world in sports, and they're just like, I don't really know what I'm gonna do next. And explaining this to them, and they're like, I can do that, but I don't have a teaching degree. But I'm like, you have a degree. So I think the more that we can put this stuff out there and people can see this as an option, not only will it attract people from other places, but even here, they're just like, oh, that's something I can actually do. So I just think it's cool because, like I said, I've had 2 very real conversations with 2 close friends in the last like week and a half. So it's getting out there.
Yeah. And I'd just like to clarify one thing, that our Teach Sumner, which is the job embedded and bringing those without a teaching degree and getting them certified, but this is actually also, we still have that program and we have our job embedded here, but this is actually for all new teachers too. So this is, they might have come out of university, they may have come out of the workforce, it's a very broad range of that. So anybody new to our district.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. You said a significant number. How many new teachers do you have?
Well, at the training this week was 286.
Wow.
That's about normal. We're usually between 250 and 300. We have 2,600. You know, we have retirements, promotions. As we become more suburban, you know, we have people that move here for a couple of years and they get transferred for jobs and things like that. And I would say, you know, also be remiss to say we've also done an extensive amount of work with principals and other leaders, and it's exciting because, you know, it's fun. We've been doing the last 2 weeks. We've been doing coffee with principals. We try to get together in the mornings and just sit around. I think we had 23 or 24 this morning at the Panera. We took over the Panera in Hendersonville. I made a mistake earlier. We took over the Panera in Gallatin, and at 7:30 it was cool. Felt good to sit outside. By 9, it was blazing hot. It wasn't as comfortable. Yeah. But, you know, it's just great before everything kicks off to have that time to sit around and talk with principals. And we've got experienced principals telling stories to new principals about some of the things that they're going to experience. And we always end it like, hey, we make mistakes together. We talk together, and this is a great cohort of people to connect to. And you can just see the camaraderie among our principals and staff. And I went ahead and warned the new principals, like, hey, they're going to always help you. They are going to absolutely make fun of you. Because there's some crazy stuff that happens that you just have to work through. But at the end of the day, you know, this morning we were sitting there before we got started, and Kenny Powell was there, Beach High School's principal, and this boy came up to him and hugged him and said, Mr. Powell, I just want to thank you. You got me out of several scrapes when I was in school, and I'm a good man now. And, it was fun. It's fun. It's fun to see that. But anyway, that's kind of where we are on that. I'm really excited for the work that they've done. And that kind of leads me in. I didn't want to be remiss about, you know, 2 meetings ago, Jeremy shared the results, or I received the results from the director evaluation. I spent a significant amount of time looking through the comments and the scores. I didn't want to take a lot of time tonight going through, the feedback that you gave, because I think that's more, it's on the website, it's on board docs for everybody to see, so you can see everything, and probably in a little bit larger package so you can actually read it. But there's some great feedback. I take that to heart. Probably what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to schedule with y'all time, if you're open to it, the last 2 weeks of August, to try to just sit down and have coffee and talk through some things. I have some ideas after 1 year with 6 brand new board members. I've got some ideas of things. I think particularly some of the feedback there is more of a strategic planning role for the board. So I've got some thoughts about how we can do that, but I want to get your feedback and see what some of your priorities are, and see how we can kind of weave all that together. Some things like study sessions, we've done this way for a long time. It does a lot of good, but it's also something, if we want to have some more spirited debates. We've always, because the technical aspects of this work is huge, we've always tried to provide y'all with the information, but sometimes it is a lot of sit and get, and we can certainly do things to make that more open so that you can feel more of a part. I know last year during budget there was a lot of feedback about having more time, also having more ability to talk. The hard part on the time is that we don't get the revenue numbers from the state conclusively. Like, they've cut 1.75 million off of our TISA dollars since March when we started projecting. So that's an ongoing conversation that we will have to have a strategic planning session on, because I think there's some issues that we need to address with the state about the way that revenue is working. But that's a little bit, we've got some, Ms. Brown in our meeting with some other districts, large districts, to talk through and see what we're all seeing. Because that local contribution is killing us. And we found out this year like April 28th. So we were about 7 or 8 days away from our budget presentation and had to adjust a $1.2 million hit. So that's stuff that makes it really hard for us to be as forward thinking as we like to be when we find out stuff in not the 11th hour, but the 11th hour and 59th minute. And then, another couple $100,000 since we passed the budget, because TISA runs all the way until June 30th before we get our final number. So this is the third run of it, so we're getting a little better at understanding the way that it works, but we're also getting to see some things that I think may require some legislative action. And we can certainly talk about those things. It's a little premature for that. We need to get the books closed and see kind of see where we are. But to me, I think one of the things that our team has been working on, Ms. Skinner and Ms. Brown have been looking to see. We typically do strategic planning meetings in September and budget meetings in February. Can we put those two together in September so that we're doing that earlier? And then that lets us bring more stuff to y'all to start having some bigger picture conversations about what our budget goals and initiatives will be for the coming year as we build out the budget. Ms. Brown's planning on starting to build the budget earlier, and trying to find ways to continue to give our principals and schools and departments the most voice possible in what they need for our kids, but also trying to also be sensitive to the fact of giving y'all more time to look and think through everything that's in the budget. I'm happy to take any questions or thoughts about my director evaluation. I want to thank you for taking the time to fill it out and put those comments down. I did read each one, and I'm thankful for y'all for taking the time to do that, so thank you. Feedback is important. And that's all I have.
Mr. Lancaster?
Yeah, a couple of things on, I just, if you can give us an update on, one, the $2,000 teacher bonus.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one we get asked about a ton of time. Do you have a date on that or any further information? I know we were waiting on the commission to approve the budget overall, but once that's approved, or if that's approved next week, what's the timeline there, first of all?
So, two things. One is the budget. I mean, we've already passed the amendment, but we can't amend a budget that hasn't been passed yet. So as soon as the commission passes the budget, which I would anticipate is going to be on Monday night, I feel really, really good about that. I'm really thankful for the work that they've done to get us there. They've done great work. And as soon as they pass that budget, Ms. Brown and her team will run a special payroll. We're hoping it will be quick. there's a lot that goes into a payroll, a special payroll. So what I've communicated to principals is it won't be on their August paycheck, it'll be before that, but probably mid-August. We're hoping earlier, but if you tell everybody mid-August, we should be good, but we're gonna get that turned around as fast as possible. You may hear a question, Ms. Brown, is the summer scholars payroll run yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Last Friday.
Okay. So if you get a question about summer scholars, that money was in last year's budget. So once it was concluded, we're able to go ahead, even though we're in a new budget year, to go ahead and get that process. But it takes a little time because we have to check, we have to check the hours worked and everything like that. There's a lot of cleanup work that has to happen in Ms. Brown's payroll team. So that should be good. So mid-August.
All right, and then for everyone on their new raise, that will not be in July check. It will be in August check if the commission approves the budget plus
So
July retro, right?
So no, this is going to be nuanced.
Because everybody wants to know when they're getting.
Yeah.
When they're getting
So
paid.
teacher contracts, if the budget passes next week, teachers will receive their raise in their first paycheck in August. Right?
So I just want to say we cannot change the pay records until that passes. So we are trying to adjust 5,000 employees' pay. So our hope and prayer is that we can make that happen in August, because it's honestly easier on payroll because we don't have to do a retro payroll for that August paycheck. Because teachers are paid from August, their first pay for the school year starts in August. So any pay they get in July is for the prior school year.
Okay.
So that won't be adjusted. Their July pay teachers will not be adjusted. If you're a 260-day employee, like you work year-round, your first paycheck for the year is on July 15th. You start July 1. So their July paycheck will be retroed, hopefully in August.
Okay. So I'm just rehash that
Yes.
in Mississippi language.
Yes.
50,500 new minimum starting
Yes.
for a teacher will be in the August check, and that's how it's always gonna be, because that's when the new August payroll is.
Correct.
As long as commission approves the budget
So-
Monday night.
Yes, I hope, because, and why I say that is because the budget is being approved so late in July. It is because when we start processing payroll way before the 15th. And so all of those pay changes have to be made to every employee. We already started doing some back end work to ensure, accuracy on our side. So we're already working on it, but we can't actually change our financial system until after that. And that is a very, very big lift on not only my team and also HR. So we are working very hard to make that happen on the August paycheck. That is our 100% goal.
So there shouldn't be, all things go well, there shouldn't have to be a retro adjustment for raises. We're gonna have a separate check, or they're gonna have a separate check, or a separate pay run, not really a check anymore, but a separate direct deposit for the $2,000.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, and let me give our HR team a huge shout out. Marla has worked tirelessly on the $2,000 bonus. We only had 5 that were questionable that we had to appeal to the state. Some districts are having hundreds because the state specified very clearly what the rules were of who qualified. If you get a question about that somebody that felt that they needed it, you should probably just forward that information to Jeremy or me, because it's most likely going to be something where there were very specific guidelines. We shared those guidelines with principals, but most of our teachers and staff most of our teachers are getting it, but there's some odd little things in there. So if you get a question about it that sounds uniquely specific to one person, if you can just forward that to us, we'll get them an answer. But yeah, early August, they should get that $2,000 bonus. And as Amanda mentioned, 260-day employees, like our full year-round employees, they will get retro pay. They won't lose money because we were on continuation in July. It'll just be caught up in a future payday. or paycheck.
Mr. King?
Yeah, just in reference to what I had mentioned earlier, our board policy requires, if a scenario comes up with where there's a husband and a wife or whatever, in the same school where one spouse is in a supervisory role over another, board policy says that it needs to be resolved by transferring one of those employees. Can you explain why, in this case, that did not occur?
It's my job as director of schools to make personnel decisions based on the good of the district. And the
Yeah,
best
but
interest.
the board policy is.
I mean, your thing is not on the agenda, so I don't feel really comfortable. I mean, it's my job. I am your employee, and I am responsible for the HR decisions for the employees in the school district.
But you have to do it within board policy.
Mr.
So-
King,
Yes,
I
sir.
believe you asked earlier if we would add this to the agenda. That item was not seconded. It is a personnel decision. So you asked your question, I believe that was answered. We're not going to discuss this in great detail.
Well,
So,
my request to add it was for the board to discuss. So this is the director's report.
and-
We've already had several, we've had a
I believe-
discussion on bonuses, we had a discussion on raises. Those were not on the agenda either.
I believe he's
I got it,
answered
so.
the question, so.
So I can wrap it up really quickly. If you read the actual board policy, it says that any exceptions must be requested and approved by the director of schools prior to any position being offered or any paperwork being submitted. This policy shall not prohibit relatives from working at the same location. So basically, it's my responsibility as the director of schools to approve those requests, and I approve that request.
Right, but it also says that so long as their work does not require the relatives to work together as a normal part of their job responsibilities. So in that case, there is no situation, and it's my understanding that this position in question is an office manager position, and so clearly this is
Well, Mr.
a
King-
supervisory role.
Well, I'm
You're not
sorry.
on the agenda.
Yeah, I believe this.
Well, neither
item
were
was-
bonuses or raises, so those were addressed.
Mr. King, I believe this question's been answered. It's a personnel decision. Dr. Langford answered the question. As far as personnel is concerned, if there's an issue or grievance that needs to be filed, I would take that up with our attorney.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? All right, next item on the agenda is new business. Item number 1, discussion or action regarding policy 43012, middle school athletics upon first reading. Motion to approve, Mr. Lancaster. Do I have a second? Got a second? Mr. Hollis, discussion? Mr. Lancaster?
The only thing I saw on this, we're moving it up 1 week with start time for games. Is that the only?
That's the only change.
I just wanna make sure I didn't misread.
They like to be done before break.
We wanted to catch all the August heat for middle school football.
As an official, we appreciate y'all moving that up.
It's kind of preseason for officials.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is discussion or action regarding policy 5.307, physical assault, leave upon first reading. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Lancaster, second. Mr. Lacy, discussion. Mr. Lancaster?
Is this a new state law? Is that?
It's a new state law.
Okay, that's the only thing. I didn't think we were just coming up with that one, but I never know what Jeremy might do in his free time.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, discussion or action regarding Apple equipment lease purchase agreement. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Ms. Hayes, second. Mr. Evans, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, unfinished business, discussion or action regarding amendments to the general purpose budget. Motion to approve. Mr. Lancaster, second. Ms. Stewart, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is discussion or action regarding amendments to the federal budget. Motion to approve. Mr. Lancaster, second.
Second.
Ms. Hayes, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is discussion of study session items. Mr. Johnson?
We got a couple things that'll be coming up. So our current cell phone policy does actually meet the minimum of state law for it, but we thought it'd be something that you guys want to talk about with the way the laws have changed. And then we've also there's a new policy that says you have to have a student representative, or you have to have a policy about having a student representative on the school board. So we wanted to talk about that, and then we'll also be going over our student achievement scores.
Anything else? All right, then we are moving on to communication from the board. Mr. Lacy? Ms. Stewart?
I just want to reach out and remind all the families about the backpacks tomorrow, or Thursday, not tomorrow, Thursday, at the Family Resource Center. I was there today. Those ladies are working so hard. Thank you for the AC, Dr. Langford. But the parents do need to take advantage of this. It's going to be hot Thursday, standing out there. Please be patient is all we can ask. But yeah, I'm looking forward to being out there with them and having fun.
Thank you. Mr. Hollis?
I just hope all the kids enjoy the last 2 weeks of freedom. And then the other, the Merrill Hyde, I don't know if you addressed the Merrill Hyde tennis courts, but they're coming along really good over there as well. So I know we're excited about that.
Mr. King? Mr. Evans?
Yeah, just next week starts all the. I mean, I know a lot's already crazy, but I'm excited to go to some of the meet the teacher stuff and meet the parents. All the parents coming in next week, so kind of crazy on all the campuses the next like 10 to 15 days. But that's what's. I mean, I haven't worked at universities before. Like I love back to school. Like it's still fun seeing crayons and stuff like at Walmart and everything. Yeah, no, I appreciate all the words and messages regarding our daughter being born. So my wife is doing great. She's recovering really well. Emmy's in Thirlwood Chapel, and it's been great. So I appreciate all the words. And if you ever want to just talk, I'm usually up from the hours of like 2 to 3. So I mean, if you ever want to see me, I'm available. So, but I appreciate it. Thanks, y'all.
Mr. Lancaster?
Yeah, just going into a new school year, especially next. Well, I guess some unions having their registration night tonight and their second round of it. Next week will be registration nights, and then we start going back to school. But main thing is appreciation and patience are the two key words for the next few weeks. There's a ton of people that do a ton of stuff behind the scenes to get ready for registration nights, and vast other support organizations that are working behind, kind of behind the scenes. Just take 20 seconds and give those people some appreciation when you see them out there doing it. And also, new school year, every year, it's something's going to go wrong as far as like traffic's going to be bad. The drop off is going to take too long. Pickup is going to take too long. Just patience. Let's work the kinks out. At every school, everything is going to be a little bit different than you remember it being at the beginning of last year, and people are going to complain. And just practice a little bit of patience, and don't let a stray cloud mess up your sunny day. So, other than that, have fun.
Yeah. Ms. Tucker?
For 10 days.
Looking forward to the new school year. I hope everyone had a great summer, and I'm looking forward to meeting some of the new teachers and the principals that we have in the district. So I'd love to come out whenever y'all have something going on.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. That's a good word. 2 good words: patience and appreciation. And yes, this just doesn't happen to kick off the school year. And some people never sleep. Summer's off. You're already working and planning ahead. So, and I thank you, all of our employees, and those behind the scene teams who are getting ready for orientation at the beginning of the school year. It's a group effort, and I know we appreciate you. And I'm just believing this is going to be the best year ever. This is going to be the best year ever in Sumner County schools. It just keeps getting better. I do know a few of the new teachers, and I'm in communication with them. They have loved it. They have loved it. And I just appreciate the vision for this. And who actually came out to watch? Did you say somebody, another county came to?
So it's I've got her name in my phone if you want me to find out, but she is over the educator prep program for the state, and so she came out to talk with our team about that, because that's kind of a part of launch too, but.
Yes, I think this will be duplicated in other counties. We've done other things in the past that have been duplicated in other counties, and it came out of you all. It came out of this lead team, and just going to be a great year. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll just kind of follow that up. I know a number of new teachers that are starting as well that have experience in other districts, at other school systems, private schools, and there's a lot of nervous energy. Just kind of not because they had any doubts about our county, but because anytime you make a change after a number of years, it's there's always a little bit of nerves, right? And what I heard is that the sessions really help put them at ease with the quality of people in the school system, the quality of the administration, the quality of staff, not just at the district level, but at the school level as well. And then we've obviously got a lot of people that have been in our schools, teachers, coaches are out on the practice field with the football team, soccer teams, cross country, all the other sports that are going on right now. It's been hot. I know it's acclimation week right now for a lot of these kids, and I'm grateful that we have a school system that's provided the safety devices and the trainers that are needed to ensure that if anything happens, we can quickly take care of that. Fortunately, knock on wood, nothing's happened yet, but you're always concerned as a parent when you're in these conditions. But appreciate the staff, appreciate the team. Looking forward to a great start to the next school year. So just coming up really quick, unless you're at Union, then it's next week, I think. But Dr. Langford, you had one more thing to add?
It's just an exciting thing, Ms. Brownsley. You've heard us talk a lot about Sumner Gives Back. On July 31st, we're excited the second half of the day. 6,000 Sumner County employees will be out in the community giving back. Some had to do it early because they had other responsibilities on the 31st, but really excited. Almost all of our schools are doing things. Gene Brown is doing a car wash for the community. To let people pull in and wash cars. We've got, Katie, you can jump in here. We've just got an abundance of projects where our people are going out to serve the community. I'm really excited.
Yeah, several schools are working with nearby fire stations to have cookouts in the community. Some of our schools are going to nearby neighborhoods to meet and greet families. We've got some schools that are working with our parks departments. I think they're going to be painting some backstops and things over here in Gallatin. So it's just really exciting to see the schools partnering and reaching out and making connections with other agencies in the community and really just showing up and being there for the communities. It's really cool.
If you're interested, if you'll just reach out to Katie, she can let you know if you want to jump in with the school. I'm really, we set the tone and we lead the way, and I'm excited to see our people get out and do that, and I'm really excited to see the pictures and videos from that day.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much. Meeting adjourned.